The Dallas Mavericks dropped their fourth straight game, this loss coming against the Detroit Pistons 102-96 last night. Forward Dirk Nowitzki went off, being one of two players to score 25 points on the night. But Dallas struggled late, turning over the ball several occasions, even allowing the Pistons to convert off those mishaps. Detroit's Reggie Jackson swished a dagger with under a minute left in regulation, extending the lead for the Pistons. For the Mavs, this is the longest losing streak of the year, and they will try to bounce back on Saturday against the Indiana Pacers at 1. The Dallas Mavericks were on the road to take on the Trailblazers last night, 3 nights after they beat Portland at the AAC. Trailblazers star Damian Lillard caused problems for the Mavs defense, hitting 4 threes and finishing with 27 points. Dallas guard Wesley Matthews faced his old team, leading the Mavs in scoring with 22 points. Even with 6 Dallas players scoring in double figures, it just wasn't enough, with Dallas Mavericks falling to the Trailblazers 109-103. Dallas now has lost 3 of their last 4 games, hoping to get a win over the top-seeded Golden State Warriors tomorrow night at 9:30. Last night, the Mean Green softball team hosted UT Arlington in a nail-biter. North Texas pitcher Jessica Elder had 2 runners on and gave up a hit to deep left field, but outfielder Danielle Gregory threw a bullet all the way home, getting the last and final out in the top of the 8th inning. In the bottom of the same inning, Mean Green third baseman Harley Perella hit a walk-off single, bringing in her teammate and helping grab the W. North Texas head coach Tracy Key says it was a good victory over a great team. I wish the Mavs could have added some more talent as well, Drake, but I'll let you know what Dallas did do today and what the Mean Green basketball teams will be up to after the break. Players on the U.S. women's national soccer team have filed a complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. The women have played much better than the men's national team, as well as making a $16 million profit, while the men lost money. The women are making anywhere from 28 to 62% less pay than the men. Also, the Women's World Cup Championship drew the best ratings ever, men's or women's, and brought in more viewers than the World Series and NBA Finals. The women's team won the World Cup last year and is one of the favorites for the coming up Olympics. Both Mean Green men's and women's basketball teams are taking on Old Dominion tonight. The only difference is the men are on the road and the women are here at home. The men have won their last 2 games, trying to go for the longest winning streak of the season. Although North Texas has struggled on the road, only winning 1 of 9 games in away matchups. On the other side, Old Dominion is also finding a few W's, taking down their last 3 opponents. The Mean Green women are on the opposite end, riding their longest losing skid of the year. First-year head coach Jaylee Mitchell is looking to turn things around at the Super Pit. Meanwhile, Old Dominion's women's team is mimicking their men's team, also coasting on a 3-game win streak. The men's team tipped off at 6, and following that, the women's team will start at 7. Well, I'm hoping they're going to bounce back from a tough break, but we'll have more on the Mean Green softball team, football team, and controversies that are going on in the women's U.S. national soccer team after the break. The trade deadline was today, and no changes were made with the Dallas Mavericks. Before the deadline, Dallas finished 6th in the Western Conference, sitting at 29-26 on the season. The Mavericks have 2 months to try to move up in the rankings, but it won't be easy since Dallas will play the top 5 teams in the Western Conference at least one more time. The Mavs went into the All-Star break on a loss to the Utah Jazz, and now they're looking to turn things around as they head to Orlando to take on the Magic tomorrow night. Tip-off is at 6. I definitely didn't, unfortunately, but thankfully we had Justin Brummett, who has a story on the madness of creating a bracket for the NCAA tournament. It's no surprise that not one person has a perfect bracket, and I don't know if anybody will ever pick all the right teams. But there really is more going on in sports besides March Madness. I'll have more after the break. This weekend, the North Texas softball team and women's basketball team will be in action. The Mean Green softball team will compete in their 2nd tournament of the season, winning 2 games in their first one. Number 21 ranked Baylor will be hosting the next tournament, with North Texas opening up against Northwestern State tomorrow at 10 in the morning. The Mean Green women's basketball team will be in Florida to take on the Owls on Saturday. This will be the first meeting between the two, with North Texas sitting 1 spot up in the conference rankings. The Mean Green softball team and basketball teams will be in full swing this weekend. The softball team will host their first tournament of the year after winning the Getterman Classic and beating 21 ranked Baylor not once but twice. The men's basketball team will be on the road trying to sweep the Southern Miss Golden Eagles on Saturday at 7. And you can catch full coverage of the North Texas women's basketball team hosting Southern Miss at 2 here on ntTV. The North Texas softball team is on the road going up against the defending Conference USA champions in Western Kentucky. Last year, the Mean Green swept were swept by the Lady Toppers, but this year Western Kentucky is without their ace pitcher, Miranda Kramer. That break will be appreciated since North Texas hasn't looked so hot in conference play, sitting at 1-5. Although the Mean Green have a little momentum going into this series, taking down SFA earlier this week. The first game will begin at 3 tomorrow afternoon. After clinching a spot in the playoffs just 3 nights ago, the Dallas Stars are now fighting for the top seed in the Western Conference. Dallas is currently sitting in first place in their conference, but a few teams are trying to get the top spot. The Blues and the Kings are less than 5 points behind the Stars, with Dallas taking on Los Angeles one more time. The Stars only have 8 games remaining in the regular season before heading into the playoffs. The next test for Dallas will be in Arizona, facing off against the Coyotes tonight at 9. That's all I have for sports. Maddie, Drake, back to you. The Dallas Mavericks are making things interesting with only 7 games remaining in the season. Last night, Knicks guard Carmelo Anthony put up a 31-point game, going a perfect 7 for 7 at the free throw line. But Mavs guard J.J. Barea came off the bench with a hot hand, dropping 26 points and making the go-ahead basket with under a minute left to play. In the final seconds, New York's Langston Galloway put up a three-pointer, but it was just short, giving the Mavs a 91-89 edge over the Knicks. The Dallas is in a 3-way tie for the last playoff spot with Houston and Utah. The Mean Green women's basketball team is trying to bounce back from a loss to FIU, hoping to end up with better results at home against Louisiana Tech tonight. But it will be a tough one since the Mean Green lost to the Lady Techsters 77-71 in their last meeting earlier this season. North Texas was plagued by fouls, having leading scorers Kelsey Kreiner and Candace Adams both foul out in that game. You can catch the Mean Green and Louisiana Tech right here on ntTV in about 30 minutes. The Mean Green softball team failed to complete the season sweep over the 19th-ranked Baylor Bears. North Texas took down Baylor twice earlier this season, with both of those wins coming in the Getterman Classic. The Mean Green ended the game scoreless, falling 2-0 and making it the second time North Texas failed to get on the scoreboard this season. The Mean Green will host FIU at Lovelace Stadium, with the first game starting at 1 on Saturday. That's it for sports. Maddie and Drake, back to you.